Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Thursday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Thursday. Welcome. It is Friday Junior. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for liking the stream on YouTube. I appreciate it. Thank you all. Welcome, Quad Bennett, Derry Bennett, Heat. How's it going? It is indeed debate night tonight. So, today will be a short stream. We're going to get through the important stuff as quickly as possible. And then we're going to take a couple-hour intermission. And we'll be streaming the debate on the Discord. because CNN has threatened to copyright strike all media that is using the stream, so you can't do it live. Short Stream King, exactly. Thank you all for liking the stream on YouTube. I appreciate it. Keep doing it. Folks, if you are a content creator and you are thinking about streaming the debate live, do not do it. Do not do it. Do not do it. You are risking a strike on your channel. For the debate, we're going to do it on Discord, so consider joining the Discord if you want to participate, or just watch in the background, you know? Doesn't matter. You're free to just kind of hop in and observe the cringe. It's okay. We've also made a channel bingo card for the debate, which will be in the debate thread under the general channel. Consider joining the Discord. Keep supporting the channel, folks. It really does help us out. Yeah, nice, cozy apocalypse. Exactly. It really does help us out with all your likes, all your subscriptions. Consider checking out the merch store at !merch. In a couple of weeks, folks, there's going to be a new revamped merch store with new features. All right, folks, we got to get started. We only got a short amount of time. A lot of Supreme Court rulings have dropped today, folks, in the last few hours. So we're going to talk about those. But first, let's meme.
Marjorie Taylor Greene took a swing at a drag queen and she missed. In fact, she didn't just miss, she face planted and ended up humiliating herself, which is something that I'm sure she's used to by now. But she shared...
I don't think so. These people feel no shame. Okay? No shame.
And reacted to a clip on Twitter of popular drag performer Bridget Bandit. And Bridget isn't necessarily saying anything particularly controversial here. She's just talking about the attacks on LGBTQ plus people and that she wants them to stop, which is pretty reasonable as a member of the community. So we'll look at her comments in this short clip because I want to show you what Marjorie Greene is reacting to and ask yourself whether or not these comments from Bridget warranted the vile response from Marjorie Taylor Greene, which we'll look at after.
Spoiler alert, probably not, okay? Probably not.
Sure.
Have both Democrats and Republicans agreed to meet with you?
Yes, we will be meeting with both Democrats and Republicans. And I'm really excited to go speak with all of our lawmakers about the attacks that we're seeing on our LGBTQ community. It's so important to talk about and to discuss protections for our queer community.
Can I let you listen to the current sentiment that's being shared by former President Donald Trump, who, of course, is running for re-election? Here it is.
We're going to take care of our Capitol. On day one, I was signed a new executive.
We're going to take care of our Capitol. Hey, can we bring up the images of, January 6th real quick? Is this what he's talking about when he says we're gonna protect our capital? Is that what he's talking about? I'm not hiring them as babysitters anytime soon. I wouldn't have a conservative 2,500 million miles near a child. I would have a conservative 10,250 million bajillion miles in near a child. Charles St. Clair, I still can't. Charles Leclerc, I can't believe that actually happened. Yeah, I can't believe that. Not only did that actually happen, but we actually got to see the beginnings of that here that same day. We were actually streaming what was going on in the Capitol. Just to be clear, not at the Capitol, but we were streaming other live streams that were all there, and we were filming. We were streaming the beginning of January 6th through the eyes of the people that were on the ground.
Executive order to cut federal funding of any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto the lives of our children.
In those three things, he mentions what he calls transgender insanity. If he's voted in as the next president, what will that mean to you?
We already see so many attacks on our queer community. I already don't feel safe in my own hometown, just dressed in drag like this. And it's very scary for...
Listen to Trump. It's for the vote and power. Oh yeah, I don't even know. Like it doesn't matter. If he's just doing this for the for the votes and for getting into power, even if he doesn't believe it, it doesn't matter, because I have no way of knowing that. The outcome is the same.
Queer people to exist in a time where we see this kind of rhetoric being pushed by our lawmakers and the people who should care about other issues that actually affect the American people, other than attacking our community, our LGBTQIA plus community. It's very disappointing, and I hope for better for our country.
Yeah, and everyone in the LGBTQ plus community feels the same way. But Marjorie thinks it's perfectly fine to attack queer people because she doesn't view them as human beings, and
because they're fascist. That's the rub. That's the rub. They're fascist. All right. So their primary directive is always throwing minorities under the bus. But I can't vote for Joe either. I'm voting for Claudia de la Cruz.
She's using her platform to spread defamatory lies about them in order to make people suspicious about them. For example, she recently literally accused Democrats of wanting to, quote, stock elementary school library shelves with gay porn, which obviously insinuates that Democrats are working towards this goal of sexualizing kids on behalf of gay and trans people.
Yeah, so a thing that never happened, by the way. What is this?
Or something, but that's not what LGBTQ plus people want. To the extent that the LGBTQ
source, I made it the F up because, like, what? Yeah, stashing the classrooms with gay porn
plus agenda exists. It's just to live and survive. That's it. So she's slandering an entire community for nothing, just because she hates them.
Yeah. That's it. It's just because she's a hateful person, and fascist ideology tends to lead in that direction. Yeah, from the woman who brought you space lasers. Yeah,
and that's not new for this imbecile, but like, take a look at her vitriolic response to Bridget's interview that we just watched. She writes, "No, what's scary is men pretending to be women, reading gender cult lying books to our children, provocatively dancing nearly nude in public spaces, and taking over our bathrooms, sports, and private spaces. Women and children need protection from them." Okay, but here's the thing, Marjorie. Bridget isn't a man, dumbass. She's a cis woman.
Let's not wake up in November and wish we had done more earlier. I'm proud of what Joe and Kamala have
Oh my
accomplished.
God. Can we I wish I could have saved that. I wish I could have saved that 5 seconds there, because that is just gold, right? Like that is just like gold, right? Like take like just take it in, right? 5 seconds to take it in. Okay, we're going to pause this for a second. So the ad opens is like, let's not wake up and see what we could have done more. No self-awareness. No self-awareness whatsoever. None. Zero. Nada. No self-awareness. No self-awareness. The fact that like the onus is being put on us is hilarious. Because it is presumptively this is a ad to ask for money. They're 100% going to blame progressives for losing this election. If they lose, I swear I'm not going to hear it. I literally will not hear it. If Biden loses the election, like I will literally just like nod. I'm not going to hear it. I'm not going to be like the person who is going to consistently say like I told you so at every step of the way, but like we've told you so, and you know what the problem is. End of story. Like Biden will only have himself to blame. So yeah, like I'm literally not gonna hear it. Hey, here's a question. Since all these like liberals were so like quick to blame Jamal Bowman for losing without acknowledging like just how much a really big lobby group had influence over. They should have that same energy should Biden lose. And Jill Stein is on TikTok and wants money also, so I posted all the time how much you own your own money you have to put up. So I post all the time how much of your own money you have to put up. Yeah, 100%. That's not the problem. Like asking for campaign donations is not the problem I had with that. I already blocked the DNC from emailing me. Yeah, and the reaction will be to move further to the right. We really do need a left party. Either that or figure out what the formula is to I think it may be like a twofold plan where you continue to launch insurgency candidates within the local Democratic parties, and while building up a left-wing movement that's capable of actually doing something on the ground. But yeah, I'd love to see Joe come out and say that he reached his own pocket and put in $1 million. He doesn't need to. He's got a lot of corporate dollars to do that. already has I told you so t-shirts. Oh my goodness. Welcome, Michael Hassler. But yeah, like the lack of self-awareness was gold on that ad. If I see it again, I'm actually gonna rewind it, okay? It isn't about the need, it's about the look.
And she responded to Marjorie Greene pointing that out, writing, "Hi, Marjorie, I'm Bridget, and I'm the queen in the clip. I'm born female and not a man. You are just proving that gender is socially constructed and have no idea what you're talking about and why you should have no say in our lives." Exactly. Spot on. Now, as you can see, she got community noted, but on top of that, one of the most popular replies to her delivered another L because they point to this photograph, which is actually a pic from a video of her boyfriend literally dressed in drag. So, I guess that he's a danger to women and children as well by her own logic. But I mean, way to make yourself look like a dumbass, Marjorie. You tried to attack a drag queen and you ended up looking foolish in return. Good job. Although, that's
like 99% of like conservatism, right? Like conservative reactions, right?
Completely fair to Marjorie Taylor Greene, being accurate isn't a necessity for her when she's attacking LGBTQ plus people. So while this does expose her ignorance to LGBTQ plus people and drag culture in particular, it's not really going to matter to the audience that she's specifically talking to, since they've already bought into the premise that queer people are a danger to women and children. But one thing that's been made crystal clear this week in particular is that the same people who usually call LGBTQ plus people groomers, they don't actually care about children.
100%. That is never the case. Like, the idea that these people care about children is laughable. The idea that these OK groomer crowds, the OK groomer crowd cares about children and is actually interested in child safety is laughable, because every single action that they take is the exact opposite. All these OK groomer people always end up being either there's two options that this is pedocon theory, and it's 100%. Hasn't missed yet. Okay, it hasn't missed yet to my knowledge. These people always end up being either the predator themselves or defending predators. That's always how it ends up being with these people. I mean, case in point, the latest incident with that streamer that admitted to messaging, their words, at times inappropriately to a minor, and you had all of these right-wing clowns defending this person. The quartering is still defending this person, by the way. The quartering is still defending this person. Sneeko is still defending this person. So yeah, pedocon theory never misses, as far as I know. Lee Spanner, I'd rather watch you on Twitch. No problem. I appreciate you hanging out in the YouTube and on Twitch, or either one. It doesn't matter. Thank you for mixing it up in both platforms. I appreciate it.
They just hate queer people. Now, I feel like if you've been paying attention...
Yeah, that's literally what it boils down to. It's not about protecting the children. It's not about caring about kids at all. It's literally just about hate. That's it. That's what it boils down to.
And that's been pretty obvious. But I say this because there's this popular Twitch streamer named Dr. Disrespect.
Oh, man, he's going to bring it up. Okay.
And he admitted to inappropriately messaging a minor. And since he's a transphobe, he had previously won respect and admiration of fellow bigots who typically call LGBTQ plus people groomers. But all of a sudden, those same people aren't willing to apply that same level of scrutiny to their friend. For example, journalist Alyssa Mercant shared tweets from right-wing anti-LGBTQ YouTubers who weren't so quick to rush to judgment when it comes to Dr. Disrespect. And The Surf shared a clip of the guy from Geeks and Gamers asking whether or not Dr. Disrespect maybe didn't know if he was inappropriately messaging a minor despite admitting to it. Now, on top of that...
Yeah. So, again, it never fails. It never fails. It never fails with these people. All of them are freaking creeps, by the way. All of them. Dr. Disrespect... Dr. Disrespect and all his defenders, creeps. All of them. So just to be clear, there are a total amount of 0 reasons why an incredibly popular streamer should be messaging a minor. Period. Full stop. There's a total and exact amount of 0 reasons why an incredibly popular streamer should be messaging minors. There's actually 0 reasons. None. Yeah, projection.
Neo-Nazi streamer Sneeko made a tweet so hateful he managed to violate Twitter's terms of use, which says something. So he called queer people pedophiles and said, quote, telling gays to not touch kids is like telling roaches to leave the kitchen. Then days later, guess what he did? He defended Dr. Disrespect, somebody who
never fails. Never fails. Never fails.
Admitted to inappropriate messages with a minor and compared him inappropriately messaging a minor to a young person watching female streamer Pokimane who just plays video games. So apparently if young men who watch Pokimane are attracted to her, that's apparently the same thing as a grown man literally purposefully sending messages to a minor that he admitted were inappropriate. What kind of logic is that?
The logic of defending incredibly creepy people. So yeah, birds of a feather. Yeah, so like the fact that like a lot of these losers are trying to make the argument, because first of all, we don't know the age of said minor, but all of these losers are trying so hard to paint Dr. Disrespect in the best light that they consistently are making the claim that this minor was 17. Which, let's say this person was 17. Why is a 30-something-year-old grown-ass man with a wife and family, wife and children, messaging, again, a 17-year-old? How's that, like, better? How's that okay? It's not like, however, you know, they want to paint it, like, oh, you know, well, you're calling a 18-year-old and a 17... You're calling an 18-year-old guy who messages a 17-year-old a pedophile? No. That's not what's happening here. That's literally not what's happening here. As Jeremy Hambley from The Quartering points out, someone who's 17 and 364 days is considered a minor. If they're dating an 18 and 1 day old person, is that person a pedo? Dr. Disrespect was almost, mid-30s? I don't know his exact age at the time, but he was older than me, okay? Let me just put it that way. Dr. Disrespect was older than me when this happened. Does that sound appropriate to you? This isn't like some 18-year-old dude who just got out of high school with a 17-year-old who's just the same. Like, no, man. Stop it. That's just defending some gross stuff. The GOP is full of pedos. Pedocon theory never misses. So yeah, like a dude who's older than me at the time was messaging a person who, again, we don't know. They keep perpetuating this 17-year-old. We don't know. We don't know if it's a 17-year-old minor. We just don't know. It's gross. It's gross. There are literally zero reasons. Why this should have happened. Okay? Man, they're not sending their best today, huh?
That is some backwards ass logic. That's some mental gymnastics to justify a pervert preying on a child.
Right. It's super gross, super disgusting. Super disgusting.
But I mean, that's Nazi logic for you. Now, I'm not going to belabor this point about Dr. Disrespect any further because I think this is a sphere of the internet that most of my audience is probably not familiar with. And admittedly, I'm not very familiar with all these people. There are other individuals like The Quartering and Nick Merckx who are also having some very, we'll say, sussy responses or lack thereof to Dr. Disrespect, even though, you know, they're fans of him. But the point is that the people who slander LGBTQ plus people under the pretense of protecting kids, they don't actually give a shit about protecting kids. They just hate LGBTQ plus people. Using protecting kids for them is just the justification to slander. an entire group of people who just want to live their lives.
Right.
And that is consistently true for both Nazis like Sneeko and Christian nationalists like Marjorie Taylor Greene. In fact, there's common cause between them on a lot of other issues as well.
Yeah, it's the same. All those roads intersect.
But as disingenuous as these attacks are, they're unfortunately working. Support for LGBTQ plus people, all LGBTQ plus people, not just trans and non-binary people, has decreased in the aftermath of this new wave of queerphobia that we're seeing from the right. In fact, a new Gallup poll finds that support for same-sex marriage among Americans is still overwhelming, but the problem is that it's slipping. It's dipped 2 points since its record high in 2022 and 2023. And when you break it down for political affiliation, support for same-sex marriage has declined among Democrats, independents, and Republicans. So we're talking all political groups. It dropped 4 points among Democrats since its record high in 2022, declined 3 points among independents from its record high in 2023, and dropped a total of 9 points among Republicans since 2022, meaning that same-sex couples no longer have majority support from Republicans when it comes to one of the most basic civil rights. And support for same-sex marriage is an important indicator of where the country is, because that is largely one of the least controversial issues. It's viewed as a settled issue, but Republicans were able to drive down public support for the most basic right. And they did that pretty effectively, including among Democratic Party voters. So to all of the gay Republicans who thought that throwing trans people under the bus would save them from the wrath of Republicans, let this be a lesson to you. They're not just coming for some members of the LGBTQ plus community, they're coming for everyone. I'm talking to you, Dave Rubin, Blair White, and Caitlyn Jenner and all the other dumbasses who think that throwing trans people under the bus is going to save themselves. It's not. You're next, bud. But conveniently for Republicans, now that they've successfully driven down support for marriage equality, they've now set the stage for the Supreme Court to deliver the final death blow, which is something that Justice Sotomayor is warning is very likely to happen. LGBTQ Nation explains, quote, Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor has issued what one court analyst calls a clarion call to Americans worried about the state of personal liberty in the United States. In the just-decided immigration case, the majority opinion written by Trump-appointed Justice Amy Coney Barrett relies on a narrow decision that the Supreme Court issued in 1997 about the interests of a spouse rather than the landmark 2015 ruling Obergefell v. Hodges affirming the right to marriage equality in all 50 states, says Joan Biskupic, a Supreme Court analyst for CNN. The case decided was ostensibly one centered on immigration and standing. A U.S. citizen petitioned to have her husband admitted to the country over objections from State Department officials who said they suspected he was a member of the transnational MS-13 gang. The husband has maintained that he is not associated with that criminal gang or any other. The constitutional question, says Buskovic, was whether a U.S. citizen has a fundamental liberty interest in their non-citizen spouse being admitted to the United States. Barrett's opinion relied on the federal government's long-standing authority to decide the admission and exclusion of non-citizens, but went further, using the 1997 case to establish the absence of a history and tradition of any right to bring a spouse into the country. It's the same argument the Dobbs majority used in that case, and one that could be employed, as Justice Clarence Thomas has notoriously written, in the reversal of marriage equality, interracial marriage, and the right to contraception, among other personal freedoms. And that's a lot of information, but what you need to know...
Come on, Dems. Yeah, well, I'll just type this part up. They're rolling back spousal rights. Yeah.
Is that Sotomayor is warning everyone that that legal rationale that they're using in this case is a sign that they'd apply that same rationale to same-sex marriages in order to overturn Obergefell v. Hodges. Since there's no history and tradition of same-sex marriages, well, then it must not be a basic fundamental right. Now, if that happens, thankfully, same-sex couples still do have protections thanks to the Respect for Marriage Act that President Biden signed into law. So even if the Supreme Court allows states to ban same-sex marriages in the same way that they allow states to ban abortion, the Respect for Marriage Act would force states to still recognize same-sex marriages that already exist and ones that were that occurred in other states. Now, it's still obviously discriminatory because you're forcing same-sex couples to get married outside of their home state, which is something that opposite-sex couples aren't required to do. So that's discrimination, pure and simple, but that was a compromise Democrats struck with Republicans to get them on board. Now, the problem here is that there's also a non-zero chance that the Supreme Court could also one day deem the Respect for Marriage Act unconstitutional and allow states to just ban same-sex marriages altogether, not recognize them from elsewhere. But I mean, I don't want you to think about that right now because that's way down the road if that happens. But at the end of the day, my point is that these attacks from the likes of Marjorie Taylor Greene and other bigots might sound silly because they are, but unfortunately, they're having an impact. They're having an impact. Lies about LGBTQ plus people being a danger to women and children, that has moved the needle so far that some Americans are now not even in favor of basic civil rights for queer people when they were just a couple of years ago. So in conclusion, even though it's necessary to laugh at clowns like Marjorie Greene as often as possible, especially when they inadvertently embarrass themselves, don't take her stupidity as a sign that we shouldn't take their defamatory lies about LGBTQ plus people seriously, because we absolutely should, because those lies, as idiotic as they are to normal people, they still have dangerous consequences.
100%. Speaking of intellectual titans, I give you Tim Pool, everybody.
I've said this before, but you know the left likes to run these clips of me out of context. Said this before, but you know the left likes to run these clips of me out of context, as they do everybody.
Yep.
But there were numerous stories throughout 2019 and 2020 where the analytics were predicting a major Trump re-election victory.
Right.
Unemployment at its lowest point. Is pre-COVID, it was huge, and Moody's analytics, based on the economy, was like Donald Trump will win again. There's also the meme of the 49-state landslide, which is just a reference to Reagan.
Right.
And so the leftists like to take all of that stuff out of context and just show clips of me saying, like, Trump's going to win, Trump's going to win. When, in fact, the caveats were, wow, if this happens, Trump's going to win. But I'm going to take full credit for everything I said.
Amazing.
And I think this is important. Donald Trump got more votes than any sitting president.
Doesn't matter.
Donald Trump won Florida and Ohio, and I don't believe any modern president has ever won both states and then lost the election.
Doesn't matter.
Trump won, 90% of bellwether counties?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and so
Doesn't matter.
these were all metrics by which any standard election was indicative of Donald Trump winning a tremendous victory. And then it was just very strange.
Yeah, very strange. It's just, wow. Tim, of all people, complaining about out of context when he literally only reads the beginning of every article he covers to take it out of context. Yeah, phenomenal. So basically, Tim Pool is bemoaning that we're taking his words and he's mad that we're just taking his words, and he's wrong, and he can't admit that he's wrong, and he can't admit that he's a clown. That's basically it. I don't know. I got a good chuckle out of it. Personally. But hey, man, if you need to perform these Olympic levels of mental gymnastics to your audience and to yourself, yeah. Whatever, man. Whatever helps you sleep at night, Tim Pool. Yeah. It's wild if you look up any article he covers, the next paragraph after he stops reading almost always starts with however. Oh, man. I would actually put money that the majority of that seems to be the case. Because, Tim Pool's not interested in the truth. Tim Pool's not going to sit here and actually give you, serious analysis. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. How that guy is one of the most viewed political commentator, and I use that term very loosely, is beyond me. But he exists. A few years ago, I watched a streamer do that live on random videos of his, and it held true. Oh, man, that's, oof. Man. Amazing. Anyone takes him seriously is just a little less smart than Timmy. I don't understand, like, why people would actually believe that this dude has something to say, something of value to say. But apparently people do. Yeah, he has money and a microphone and a skate park. And a skate park. He has a skate park. He has a compound. And maybe sushi. Sushi with the boys. And a sweet beanie. Yeah. That's the icing, right? That's the icing on the shit cake. Last time we talked about Louisiana making this. Now Oklahoma is attempting to make moves in the same direction. Oklahoma State Superintendent announces that all schools must incorporate the Bible and Ten Commandments in curriculum. So, yeah, that's nice. Although this is a step above. All Oklahoma schools are required to incorporate the Bible and Ten Commandments in their curriculum, effective immediately, the state's chief education officer announced in a memorandum Thursday. Today, at a state board of education meeting, Oklahoma State Superintendent of Public Instruction Ryan Walters said the Bible is one of the most foundational documents used for the Constitution and the birth of our country. No, actually. It's crystal clear to us that in the Oklahoma... Actually, you know, the freedom of religion was a foundational... supposedly a foundational thought. But that's not what they're referring to here. Yeah, American Taliban State number 2. It's crystal clear to us that in the Oklahoma Academic Standards under Title 70... on multiple occasions, the Bible is necessary historical document. No. To teach our kids about the history of this country, no. To have a complete understanding of Western civilization, red flag. To have an understanding of the basis of our legal system, no. No, actually, no, it's not. That's actually not necessary at all to understand the legal system. And the foundation of this country, because it's not involved in that. Every classroom in the states from grade 5 to 12 must have a Bible, and all teachers must teach from the Bible in the classroom. I think, like, man, for public schools, I think malicious compliance is needed. I think that all public school teachers should just read "Thou shalt not kill" and then like move on, and say that they've taught from the Bible.
This week on Chewy, shop all your pet's favorites and get a $30.
I'm thinking a walkout. Yeah, that works too. That works too.
Fiber of... So when you talk about the moral fiber of our country, you realize that this country is an amalgamation of cultures, right? And
correct. So why are you imposing why are you imposing a specific religion over all of them?
Different faiths, and even within Christianity, people don't interpret those commandments the same way.
Correct.
Well, what's important about this bill and what's important to remember about this country is that whether we like it or not.
Nope. Cognizant, welcome. Thank God I missed the Beanie Turd content. It was only a short segment.
Moses is in the Supreme Court of the United States. The 10 Commandments are in the Supreme Court of the United States. Moses is on the law in Congress. This is part and ingrained in our nation. This is
Moses himself, folks. A person that totally existed.
Historical document that's important in Louisiana, because in Louisiana, we believe in faith, family, and freedom. And that is why I voted in favor of this bill.
Sure, but you also recognize that the Constitution
I'm sorry. This is the Louisiana person
of this country, its founding document, doesn't include the word God or Jesus or Christianity, and that's for a reason, because the founding
we have separation of church and state.
Fathers founded this country as a secular one. You don't see that?
I bet you CNN pays you a lot of money, and I bet you got a bunch.
That doesn't have anything to do with anything. Like, that's how you know immediately to disregard like anything else that's coming out of this person's mouth.
What does this have to do with the network that I work for or what I'm getting paid? Don't make this about that. Answer the question. Why did the founding fathers not include God in the Constitution if they wanted this country to be the way that you see it?
Let me finish.
Nah, shut up.
My statement. And
answer
your wallet,
the question and don't make this about me.
In God we trust. Well, make it about me. I got a dollar bill in my wallet. In God we trust.
Yeah, that was added. That was added to show the godless commies, wasn't it? During the Cold War. During the Cold War, we added that to show the godless commies that that we had God on our side. Globus the Elder, welcome. In the 1950s, yeah. That's right.
Is written on that dollar. It is not forcing anybody to believe one viewpoint. It's merely posting a historical reference on the wall for students to read and interpret it if they choose.
But fundamentally, you understand.
This is a separation of church and state. Like, fundamentally, like, you just cannot do that unless you're going to start, like, adding every single religion's text. Someone show her pre-1950s currency.
Understand that there's a separation between church and state, and that if you're a student at a school, say you're Muslim or Hindu or atheist, having that on the wall, doesn't that endorse a specific set of beliefs?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, yes, it does. Bro, you want to go back to 1500s England.
It is a historical document.
But it isn't, though.
Again.
But there are historical documents. There are historical documents that actually this law authorizes to be displayed in classrooms, like the Mayflower Compact, the Declaration of Independence, and others. But this one is specifically religious, and there's a difference there. I mean, that seems pretty clear that there's a difference between a random historical document and one that endorses a very specific view of a very specific denomination within a religion.
Right. Thou shalt not have other gods before me isn't religious, not at all. But civil horse statues are historical.
I don't agree with you that this is a random historical document. This is
I didn't say it was random, but there are others. Go ahead.
This is a very valuable document. Look, this nation has gotten out of hand with crime, with the bad, negative things.
What does this have to do about anything? I think suppressing women is historical, no? Yeah.
Are going on. Why is it so preposterous that we would want our students to have the option to have some good principles instilled in them? If they don't hear it at home, let them read it in the classroom. It's no different than the Mayflower
That has nothing to do with morals. You're saying that people can't have morals if they're not of your religion. Yeah, option.
Power Compact, which is mentioned in the document as well. I don't understand why this is so preposterous and that litigation is being threatened. It doesn't scare us.
I
in
see
the
the
state
word
of
requiring. Yeah, requiring. Yeah, what she's trying to wiggle out of is she's saying, well, the students have the option of not reading it if they don't want to.
Louisiana. We say bring it on.
Because if someone has a home in which they choose to believe something different, which is welcome in this country, it's literally why people fled to come here to found this country to begin with, then they should be allowed to. And it's not really an option if you're requiring it to be put up in the wall of a classroom.
Correct.
What do you say to the parents of students or even teachers who don't share your religious views?
Don't look at it.
What a clown. So, we had that, and now Oklahoma is going a step further. The Oklahoma Memorandum follows a law in Louisiana passed June 19th that requires all public classrooms to display the Ten Commandments. There's the link. A group of Louisiana parents and civil rights organizations are suing the state over the new law, contending the legislation violates both U.S. Supreme Court precedent and the First Amendment. Oklahoma's directive is in alignment with the educational standards approved on or about May of 2019, with which all districts must comply. She's not very good at this, no. The Bible is an indispensable historical and cultural touchstone. No. Cultural, maybe. But okay. Walter said in the release, without basic knowledge of it, Oklahoma students are unable to properly contextualize the foundation of the nation. That is incorrect. That is deeply ahistorical and a warping of reality just to fit your Christian worldview. This is not merely an educational directive, but a crucial step in ensuring our students grasp the core values and historical context of our country. Nah, I'm good. Tourist Price, welcome. The new memo comes after Oklahoma Supreme Court blocked an effort to establish the first publicly funded religious charter school in the country. Thank goodness. The court on Tuesday ordered the state to rescind its contract with St. Isidore of Seville Catholic Virtual School in a 6-2 decision with one recusal. Under Oklahoma law, a charter school is a public school, wrote Justice James Winchester for the court. As such, a charter school must be non-sectarian. However, St. Isidore will evangelize the Catholic faith as part of its curriculum, which while sponsored by the state. Walters called the ruling one of the worst decisions the state Supreme Court has made and pledged to, quote, fight back. Yeah. I guarantee there's a printing company that has connections to these politicians going to make a lot of money on this. Yep. More people have been killed in the name of God than for any other reason. Makes sense. What the court did was rule against the parents of Oklahoma who have demanded more choices for their kids. Not really. Not really. That is not correct. So you do have the right to go to a private school that evangelizes whatever faith you want. You do not have the right to use public funds to do that. Period. Full stop. End of story. We have a great opportunity to make sure that parents have the most option of any parents in the country here in Oklahoma by giving them the ability to go to a public school, charter school, and private schools. This would have been the most unique charter school in the country. Nah, I'm good. If by unique you mean the first or unique in the sense that it breaks the separation of church and state, well, then yeah, I suppose. So I want you all to know we will continue to fight back against this. We want to continue to provide an opportunity for parents to send their kids to high quality schools. Here's good news, because you can send students to high quality schools. They just don't have to be Catholic schools, and they don't have to be sponsored by the state. I wonder if she plans to open Hindu and Sikh schools as well, or just Christian. No, just Christian, of course. My Satanist school is looking for funding. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so much for options. No. By options, they mean our options, the things that we want to impose on people. Folks, if you're just walking in tonight, there is a debate, the first presidential debate. We will just be hitting the play button when it's time, and you guys are free to hang out and look at the debate if you wish by joining the Discord. We've got 3 Supreme Court rulings that we have to go through before we are finished here today. Supreme Court blocks Purdue Pharma opioid settlement, threatening billions of dollars for victims because, of course. The Supreme Court on Thursday today blew up the massive bankruptcy reorganization. Yeah, it's a good way to catch a band. Exactly. That's why I'm not doing it live. I'm doing it allegedly on Discord. Allegedly. Okay? Allegedly. There may be rumors that if you join the Discord, you can watch the debate. But these are just rumors, okay? It will not be live streamed. For that very reason. Yeah, allegedly. Exactly. Allegedly, if you join the Discord and you join the presidential debate channel, a presidential debate may or may not be. I'm not saying which presidential debate, by the way, is streaming, but one may or may not be streaming. So if you're just joining us, feel free to join the Discord. The Supreme Court on Thursday today blew up the massive bankruptcy reorganization of the opioid maker Purdue Pharma, finding that the settlement inappropriately included legal protections for the Sackler family, meaning that billions of dollars secured for victims is now threatened. Anaholics, welcome. The others were some random Gmail address and got rescinded when fought. The 2020 Dem debates all got people hit with DMCA, but only one was legit. I think it was CNN. Yeah, CNN actually put out a message. Saying that they will do copyright strikes. Like, they actually made a statement on that. Wait, you can't stream it. That's all. Like, it's free to watch. Like, you can tune in to CNN and watch it. But you can't live stream it. You can't live stream and comment, which is nonsense. Because, like, if you can just watch it live, if you can watch it, for free, I don't understand what the point of striking channels would be, but whatever. It's on C-SPAN as well. Gotcha. We're doing a speedrun of Mr. President in the Discord. The debate is in the game. Yeah, there you go. There you go. CNN is allowing all major news companies to air it and no independent media, which is so silly. It's so silly. It's also on Max. It's on a paid service. I think it has to do with commercials. Yeah, I think it has to do with the commercialization money. It's okay, guys. Not like it's for anything important. Yeah, right. Not like it's the interest of the public good to see what the potential candidates or the presumed candidates are saying. Anyways, in the aftermath of the decision, the Sackler family, Purdue Pharma, and lawyers for the plaintiffs expressed hope that a new deal could be quickly reached. As part of the original settlement, the family, which controlled the company, had agreed to pay $6 billion. It could be used to settle opioid-related claims, but only in return for a complete release from any liability in future cases. And looking forward to the debate commercial. Conservative Neil Gorsuch, writing for the majority, said the Sacklers could have declared bankruptcy, but instead sought to piggyback on the company's own bankruptcy proceedings in an effort to resolve pending legal claims. They obtained all this without securing the consent of those affected or placing anything approaching their total assets on the table for their creditors. Nothing in present law authorizes the Sackler discharge. Gorsuch was joined in the majority by 3 conservative colleagues and 1 liberal Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. Conservative Justice Brett Kavanaugh dissented, citing the impact of the decision on those who would benefit from the settlement. Today's decision is wrong on the law and devastating to the more than 100,000 opioid victims and families. As a result of the ruling, opioid victims are now deprived of the substantial monetary recovery that they fought long for and finally secured after years of litigation. Fellow conservative Chief Justice John Roberts joined Kavanaugh's dissent, as did liberal Justices Elena Kagan and Sonia Sotomayor. The ruling means settlement talks of the Sacklers would have to begin again while the separate Purdue Pharma bankruptcy proceedings continue. Purdue Pharma described the ruling as heart-crushing because the impact on the victims were pledged to move forward with efforts to negotiate a new settlement. The decision does nothing to deter us from the twin goals of using settlement dollars for opiate abatement and turning the company into an engine for good. Sure. A statement issued by the members of the Sackler family say they remain hopeful about reaching a resolution that provides substantial resources to help combat a complex public health crisis. Quote, while we're confident that we would prevail in any future litigation given the profound misrepresentations about our family and the opioid crisis, we continue to... Shut up. We continue to believe that a swift negotiated agreement to provide billions of dollars to people and communities in need is the best way forward. Jane Conroy, a lawyer representing some of the plaintiffs, said that various lawsuits against the Sacklers that were put on hold as a result of the settlement would resume if no new deal is reached. The Sacklers will be under a lot of pressure to reach a quick settlement or face a massive onslaught to secure assets that may be hidden around the world. The case drew further attention to lingering efforts of the opioid crisis and the role that the Sackler-owned Purdue played in creating it. As part of the proposed deal, which the Supreme Court put on hold last year when it took up the case, the Sackler family had agreed to pay about $6 billion that could be used to settle the opioid-related claims, but only in return for a complete release of any liability in future cases. The settlement included assets held by Purdue would be worth significantly more, with the reorganized company set to dedicate itself to tackling the impact of the opioid abuse. No Sacklers have had any involvement in the company since 2019. Purdue made billions from OxyContin, a widely available painkiller that fueled the opioid epidemic. The company's tactics in aggressively marketing the drug came under increasing scrutiny as thousands of people died from opioid overdoses. As the company's fortunes nosedived, it sought bankruptcy protection, but the Sackler family did not. Instead, they negotiated a separate deal with Purdue and plaintiffs in pending lawsuits that would allow the company to reinvent itself to address the opioid crisis. The New York-based 2nd District U.S. Court of Appeals last year approved the plan over the objection of William Harrington, the U.S. government trustee monitoring the bankruptcy. The Justice Department's trustee program is aimed at ensuring that the bankruptcy operates as required under law. The bankruptcy system operates as required under law. Harrington objected to the release of the additional claims against the Sacklers, saying it would be unfair to potential future plaintiffs. Purdue criticized Harrington's role, saying that the groups representing thousands of plaintiffs have signed on to the settlement, which could not have happened without the Sackler family contribution. At the Supreme Court, various groups representing plaintiffs backed Purdue, including one that includes 1,300 cities, counties, and other municipalities, and another representing 60,000 people affected by the opioid crisis. Canadian municipalities and Indigenous First Nations were among those objecting the settlement. Purdue flourished under brothers Mortimer and Raymond Sackler, who died in 2010 and 2017, respectively. The family reaped billions and spent lavishly, including on splashy charitable projects. The family told the Supreme Court that it continues to back the settlement. In a brief filed on behalf of the relatives of Mortimer Sackler, most of whom are based overseas, lawyers warned of significant litigation costs and risks in seeking to enforce any foreign court judgments against the family if the settlement were thrown out. I hope they get torn apart for every single cent. In a just world, that's what would have happened. Supreme Court blocks EPA interstate air pollution regulation. Cool. The Environmental Protection Agency's Good Neighbor rule is aimed at reducing air pollution across the state lines and contributes to smog. The Supreme Court on Thursday today blocked a Biden administration environmental regulation aimed at curbing harmful air pollution that crosses one state or another and contributes to the formation of smog. In doing so, the court on a 5-4 vote granted requests from 3 Republican-led states, Indiana, Ohio, and West Virginia, and various industries, including natural gas pipeline operators, of course. The decision is a provisional one, though, with litigation continuing. The EPA regulation applied to 23 states, although the lower court rulings meant it was already blocked in a dozen of them. Environmental groups that had joined together to defend the rule, including the Sierra Club and Environmental Defense Fund, decried the decision. Quote, today's decision is deeply disappointing. It will result almost immediately in pollution that endangers the health of millions of people, the group said in a statement. West Virginia Attorney General Patrick Morrisey, among those challenging the regulation, said in a statement, the litigated rule will put additional stress on the power grid. Whatever. Someone stole my username, man. Welcome. This decision by the Supreme Court is correct, but the EPA will keep trying to legislate and bypass Congress's authority. Shut up. The EPA's literal job is to protect the environment. In the majority opinion, Neil Gorsuch wrote that the EPA's decision to implement the rule, even though it was partially blocked, was part of the problem, as the agency did not address how effective the regulation would be if only partly in effect. The government failed to show whether the cost-effectiveness analysis it performed collectively for 23 states would yield the same result and command the same emission control measures if conduct for, say, just one state. Conservative Justice Amy Coney Barrett sided with the court's 3 liberals in disagreeing with the outcome. She wrote that the court had blocked the major air pollution rule based on an undeveloped theory that is unlikely to succeed on the merits when the legal question is finally adjudicated. The Supreme Court, which has a 6-3 conservative majority, is skeptical of broad exertions of federal power on regulatory issues, including the environment. Cool. As a result, it's receptive to legal challenges mounted by Republican attorney generals and industry groups that have long griped about the EPA's aggressive use of its regulatory powers. Come on. The EPA's Good Neighbor plan was announced last year in a bid to curb nitrogen oxide pollution from industrial facilities. If implemented in full, it would apply to 23 upwind states whose emissions can contribute to pollution in downwind states. The EPA said the plan, based on requirement of the Clean Air Act, could help prevent premature deaths, reduce emergency room visits, and cut asthma symptoms by limiting the amount of smog. Typically, states get a chance to drop their own pollution control plans. Each state is required under the Clean Air Act to be a good neighbor, meaning that it should address pollution that can contribute to other states not meeting their own obligations. Right. It turns out that, like, the environment doesn't care whether you live in one state or the other. Who wants to live a full life in this country anyway? True. The EPA can step in and adopt its own plan, which is what happened last year. The 3 states complained about the federal government's approach, saying in part that they didn't have enough time to come up with their own plan. In 2 other important recent environmental cases, at the Supreme Court, the EPA lost both times. In 2022, the court limited the ability of the agency to use the Clean Air Act to combat emissions that contribute to climate change. Last year, the court weakened the landmark Clean Water Act by limiting the EPA's regulatory oversight over wetlands. So, yeah, that's cool. I already did. Y'all have fun now. Okay, we got one more Supreme Court decision before we call it, folks. Folks, if you're just walking in, feel free to join us on the Discord. In a few hours, the debate will start. So if you want to join us on the Discord, just hit the exclamation mark Discord. The Supreme Court strips the SEC of a critical enforcement tool in fraud cases. So yeah, just keeps getting better, folks. We're getting some phenomenal rulings here by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court on Thursday today stripped the Security and Exchange Commission of a major tool in fighting security fraud in a decision that could also have far-reaching effects on other regulatory agencies. The justices ruled in a 6-3 vote that people accused of fraud by the SEC, which regulates securities markets, have the right to a jury trial in federal court. The in-house proceeding the SEC has used in some civil fraud complaints, including against Houston hedge fund manager George Jarkissi, whatever, violated the Constitution. A defendant facing a fraud suit has a right to be tried by a jury of his peers before a neutral adjudicator, said Chief Justice Roberts wrote for the conservative majority. Justice Sonia Sotomayor, who read from her dissent in the courtroom, said that litigants who seek to dismantle the administrative state would rejoice in that decision. Federal agencies that oversee safety in mines and other workplaces were among many that can only impose civil penalties in in-house administrative proceedings, Sotomayor wrote, joined by Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson and Elena Kagan. For those and countless other agencies, all majority can say is tough luck, get a new statute from Congress. The case is among several this term, which conservative and business interests are urging the nine-member court to constrict federal regulators. The court's 6 conservatives have already done so, including in a decision last year that sharply limited environmental regulators' ability to police water pollution in wetlands. Still awaiting the decision are cases calling on the court to overturn the 40-year-old colloquially known as Chevron, which has made it easier to sustain regulation of the environment, public health, worker safety, and consumer protection. Some of the same parties that supported Jarkissi at the Supreme Court are now calling for Chevron to be overturned. Cool. The SEC was awarded more than $5 billion in civil penalties in 2023 government spending year that ended September 30th, the agency said in a news release. It was unclear how much that money came through in-house proceedings or lawsuits in federal court. The agency had already reduced the number of cases it brings in administrative proceedings pending the Supreme Court's resolution of the case. The High Court's rejected arguments advanced by President Biden's Democratic administration that relied on a 50-year-old decision in which the court ruled that in-house proceedings did not violate the Constitution's right to a jury trial in civil lawsuits. The justice ruled in favor of Jarkissi after SEC appealed a decision in which New Orleans-based 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals threw out stiff financial penalties against Jarkissi and his Patriot 28 investment advisor. The appeals court found that SEC's case against Jarkissi, resulting in $300,000 civil fine and repayment of $680,000 in allegedly ill-gotten gains, should have been heard in a federal court instead of the one before the SEC's administrative law judges. Jarkissi's lawyers noted that the SEC wins almost all the cases it brings in front of the administrative law judge, but only about 60% of cases tried in federal court. The appeals court also said Congress unconstitutionally granted the SEC unfettered authority to decide whether the case should be tried in a court of law or handled within the executive branch agency. And it said the law shielding the commission's administrative law judges from being fired by the president are unconstitutional. Those issues got virtually no attention during arguments in November, and the court chose to resolve the case only on the rights to a jury trial. So yeah, I mean, like, this is kind of like a precursor to the fundamental concept behind Project 2025, right? Which is essentially to do the best. To do away with the administrative state, the bureaucracy, if you will, as best as possible, And this is exactly what it sounds like in practice, right? The Supreme Court is basically saying that the SEC does not have the ability to be a enforcement agency. The same goes for the EPA. Yeah, this is very bad. They're basically saying, like, well, tough shit. Congress is the one that has to legislate this if you want that to be the thing. But, like, man, Congress can't be everywhere and at once, if that makes sense. Like, Congress can't be experts on the environment. Congress can't be, like, legislating every single aspect of how they're going to do something like securities, like what the Security Exchange Commission does. Congress can't legislate every single little itty bitty thing that, like, I don't know, the FCC does. It's absurd. That's why the bureaucracy exists. Hey, left flank vets, welcome. This means we can financially scam people and not be held accountable too, right? You're correct, actually, according to the Supreme Court. Correct. Welcome. Quick shout out to left flank vets. Thank you for hanging out, and thank you for the previous raids. I appreciate it. Let's get it going. That's right. The nine law wizards of the realm have declared that fraud is in. Okay? Fraud is in, folks. There are more Supreme Court decisions coming down. I think the more pertinent one that we will be waiting for is whether or not, and this is absurd that we're even talking about this, is whether or not the president has absolute immunity. That's going to be the next, I guess, big decision. One of the next big decisions. And we'll definitely keep a lookout. Yeah, just a little bit supremacy court, just a little bit. The 9 law wizards of the realm have declared. All right, folks. We got through all the important stuff. I think now it's time for us to take a break. And by break, I mean take a, hour and a half intermission. Because it's just over 6:30. So we'll say an hour and a half intermission. And then meet back at the Discord, folks. Join the Discord, okay? Because unfortunately, the way this works is that if we try to stream this live, the channel's gonna get struck without a doubt, according to the statement that CNN put. Like, I even saw that, like, the Majority Report was gonna stream this, and they even the Majority Report decided most likely not. They were seeing about streaming it through, like, MSNBC, but I don't think that's a good idea. I think that they will. I think that the risk of the channel being struck is real. So yeah, if you're thinking about streaming the debate, just do it. Go underground. Go underground. There are I think a few people are going to stream the debate. So consider that as well. We don't need no strikes, no. I think the leftist mafia, might stream it on Rumble, because there's less likely of a chance of there being like, oh, so what if they get a strike on Rumble? Like, whatever. So I think the leftist mafia is going to do it on Rumble if you want to hang out there. We here at A Difficult Truth, we're going to do it on the Discord. So we're heading underground. Meet back with us about an hour and a half. So set your timers, okay? Go get some dinner. Do whatever you need to do, and we'll meet back at the Discord. Matt Bender's going to watch it on X and stream it on Twitch. Ooh, I do not recommend it. I do not recommend it. Yeah, and we have bingo. We have a channel bingo card. I wonder if that'll trigger a channel strike if you're watching it through something else. If you're watching it through something else, if it will actually trigger a channel strike, I don't know. Godspeed. Godspeed to Matt Bender. Personally, I would say don't do it. But yeah, I don't know. You can work that strike off easy enough. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate all of your support. Thank you for all the follows and the biddies and the subscriptions and all that awesome stuff. You guys are what really makes this channel grow. Keep liking the stream on YouTube. I see you guys. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube. If you want to support the channel, there are many different ways. Consider checking out the merch store. Join the Discord, folks. That's where we'll be tonight. Thank you. Thank you all for hanging out. Thank you, Michael Hassler. Thank you, Heat, for modding the chat. Thank you, Left Flank Vets, for hanging out. Thank you, Marcus. I appreciate it. As always, folks, we'll be back Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Yeah, sorry, it's a little bit of a short stream, but I've got some prep work to do before we hit the play button, because that's effectively what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit the play button, and if you want to join and watch the cringe, that is on you. If you want to participate in the cringe, okay, the cringe fest that will be happening in about an hour and a half. Join at your own risk, folks. Okay. I cannot be responsible for any secondhand cringe that happens in that debate. GG, happy weekend. Yes, it's basically Friday. Join the Discord, folks. All right, I'm out of here. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love y'all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one, Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya. All right, folks, hang tight. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.